Hey guys, so I'm going to show you how to use the Dremel tool for a variety of different things. As you know, we already have the Dremel tools in the back of the room to use for drilling when we do our pierced and cut pieces, but there's a lot of other things that the Dremel can do. They can actually help you sand a little bit faster. Remember at the beginning of the year, I gave you that tool that has the hole in it. It's called a sanding mandrel. So it looks similar to this. What you'd actually do is cut a piece of sandpaper into a strip. So I'm just going to cut a little bit of sandpaper right off of this sheet. This happens to be 220 because again, we would start with 220 sandpaper. I would put it into the Dremel tool in the little slot in that sanding mandrel. And then I want to make sure that it actually is on the left-hand side. So the longer part of the sandpaper should be on the left-hand side. This is actually a little bit too long. So what I'm going to do is cut this in half in order to show you. So it should be about 4 inches long. And you want to actually, again, put it into the slit in that Dremel. And then when you turn it on, it's going to wrap around that and you'll be able to actually sand your piece. So one other thing I want you guys to see is I actually have my safety glasses on. I have my hair tied up. I don't have any hoodie straps or anything loose. Part of the reason I don't want that right now is I want to make sure that I don't get anything caught in the Dremel tool because I could injure myself that way. I want to wear a dust mask if I'm sanding or buffing. So here you can see I've put my ring on one of the buffing spindles. You could also do it just on one of the dowels that we had for the casting piece. This felt that's on here actually helps this not slip a little bit, so that's kind of nice. I did put it in the larger vise, and you do have to be careful when you're tightening the vise because you could wreck this spindle. That spindle actually has a hole in it and actually goes on the buffing wheel, but if you tighten this too much, it's going to wreck the hole that's inside here, which actually goes on the buffing wheel, so you want to be careful with that. I'm just going to show you sanding on this piece. The sanding mandrel looks like this. It's got that hole in it. And again, you want to put the piece of sandpaper in on the left side. So you're going to have most of the sandpaper on the left side. When you turn the tool on, hopefully you guys can see it's already starting to get shiny just from the 220 sandpaper, and it did start to get warm because I was using that for a little bit. And hopefully you can also see the difference between where it's sanded and where it's not. Remember, you do have to go through all the grits of sandpaper. Right now I was using 220, but you do have to go through 320, 400, and 600 in order to start buffing. So I would have to do all of those grits of sandpaper and then it would get super, super shiny for me. So the last thing that I want to show you is just to make sure that you're putting your tools away. So these are my buffs that I was using. I also have the grinding container that's got all the little grinding bits in it. And I'm going to put it back into the cabinet. And I want to make sure that I put the rouge where the rouge goes and the Tripoli where the Tripoli goes, so that everything is cleaned up after every single class, because this is the way the room should be taken care of, is we put everything away so that the next class can actually go and use their things.